So a friend texted me the other day and asked how I was doing. And I text back that I was that I was splendiferous to be silly, and I had no idea that it was a real word. So I was wondering why there was no red line under the word as I wrote it. You know, because when you spell something wrong, you expect Google to come and say, hey, what the hell are you doing? And so I wrote this word out, and I noticed there's no red line. Hey PJ, how you doing today? So this is a moment of life's hilarious serendipities. And I'm looking at the screen because I'm looking at my message that I put up the other day on Facebook. So I read the definition, and the crazy part was it fit exactly my intent when I sent the message. Russell Burton, thanks for hanging out, bro. This was funny, y'all, I'm telling you. And I was like, well, I guess I have my word for word of the day. Promise y'all. Now, the wild part about this is that one time I was asleep and I heard the word like bereavement in my mind. And I was about 18 years old. And at least to my knowledge, I never heard the word before. But I knew it had something to do with like grief and sadness. Maybe I heard it somewhere before. Maybe grieving, and maybe I thought bereavement was similar. But that's the only other time where something like this has happened. But I literally was trying to make up a word to be silly with this person. And I wrote that I was splendiferous. And I was like, okay, because some applications don't underline the word because they just allow you to make up, words. They expect the field to be like interpreted and not so much like you had to have correct words. You can have different interpretations of language and words. So anyway, splendiferous. Maybe I'm the last person in the world to ever hear this, but let's talk about what it is. Splendiferous is an adjective, and it means informal or humorous, which is exactly what I was trying to be and what I'm being now. A way to say this in a sentence is a splendiferous Sunday dinner. That's a funny word too when you think about it. Let's look up some other definitions. Splendid, magnificent, or fine. You can use it in that way too. And speaking of which, shout out to Miss Candy Harrison. If you ever watched this video, you said that, okay, this was another funny moment. So when I put this up, one of my Facebook friends, Miss Candy Harrison, came on and said, tell me what it means. I don't want to Google it. And I laughed because, of course, Google is not only one click away, but like one voice, like, hey, Google, hey, Alexa, what does this mean? And I was laughing with her because I told her my mother would find this absolutely hilarious. And I tagged my mother in it. I said, because when I was young, one of the worst things that I could hear from my mother when I wanted to know a word was look it up, because I was a lazy kid like all kids, or like most kids. And even though the dictionary was, remember dictionaries? Remember physical dictionaries? Even though the dictionary is right in the hallway on the same shelf as the red and gray famous encyclopedias, especially in the black family, in the black household, the famous encyclopedias, that or Britannica, if you were fortunate enough to, they were like crazy high at some point. But I think all of us had the encyclopedia set where the letter R was missing, or the letter S, or A. And if you were a kid, it was right at the time when you needed to do a report on apples, on, I don't know, something with S and something with R, and you couldn't find it, and then you had to go all the way to the library. Remember those days of having to seek to really find information, like get on a bus and travel somewhere to find out what the word splendiferous meant if you didn't have a dictionary at home? So I used to dread hearing those words, and so I was laughing at Miss Candy for saying that she was too lazy as an adult to look it up on Google. And I said my mother would find this funny, because now we're even lazier as adults. The answer is right on Google. Anyway, so that was splendiferous as well. So splendiferous, splendid, magnificent, fine, humorous, all that kind of good stuff. And let's go to Miriam's extraordinarily or showily impressive. So it's another way of using it. Very impressive, very extraordinary, very magnificent, very humorous, maybe even hysterical. Somebody who's more educated than me, tell me, I thought that hysterical only meant funny, but I've been hearing people use it in the context of like negative chaos. Like if people are running because they're afraid, it's hysteria. And I never heard it used that way before. I guess I should use that as the next word of the day so I can look up more definitions on it. But at any rate, splendiferous, and the last but not least, how to use it in a sentence. Standing on the balcony, the vacationer was in awe of the splendiferous view of the city. After winning the lottery, Marie bought splendiferous furniture to decorate her magnificent new home. So in that sense, they're using it to say very grand, very magnificent. The model's splendiferous suit looked superb as he strutted down the runway. Interestingly, they didn't use it in any of those examples to be humorous or funny, which I thought was funny. And yeah, that's about it. Let's see is splendiferous a real word? Well, of course we know it is, but I wanted to see if it had anything to offer as far as like the origin of the word. So let's see. This is vocabulary.com, and my internet is slow as jacks, or slow as dial-up, because everybody's on the internet now. You all remember the days of dial-up, where you had to either be on the phone or be on the internet. And if you were on the internet, then you had to tell people you couldn't talk to them on the phone, or worse, you didn't know that they called. And then also when you were ready to get your internet, and I used to tell this all the time, I guess I might as well tell it here, like comedy moment. So first of all, you hit the button and all you hear is sound like the Tasmanian devil of internet services. And then after that, and this was my habit, right? So it's 2001. That's when I got my Sony Vaio computer, and when I got my first internets, plural for the older people who say that kind of stuff. And so dial-up service, and then as soon as you get on, I'm like, okay, I see the loading bar, and I'm like, yes, sir. In about 10 minutes, I'm going to be on this website. I can go warm up some food. I could probably run a bath. I could damn near take a damn bath by the time I get on the internet. But I was excited, though. And it's funny, a little psychology moment. One thing about us is that the more convenient things get, the less patience we have, and the less patience we realize we had. Because it was nothing to wait 5 minutes for an internet page to load up. You were happy about that. 5 minutes? You mean to tell me in 5 minutes I'm actually going to be on the internets? And then I think about stuff like downloading music and bear sharing, Kazaa, and all this kind of stuff. Fun times. But yeah, I used to go warm up my food while I was waiting to get on a website. And I was happy that I had enough time to warm up my food. I didn't want it to be any faster. So even though it sounds like a made-up word, splendiferous is a word for wonderful things. You may have seen a splendiferous sunset or a splendiferous velvet gown in your day. A splendor is a beautiful sight. Splendiferous things are even better. This somewhat silly sounding word is a term for praising things that are absolutely fantastic, either because they're beautiful or otherwise great. A gorgeous spring day is splendiferous. A delicious dinner is splendiferous. I don't know why I'm talking like this, and that's splendiferous. That's like the news reporter. The news reporter. This and more tonight at 5. Seeing a friend for the first time in months is splendiferous. As long as you're referring to something great, it could be called splendiferous. And that, my friends, is the word of the day. Join me tomorrow for the same damn thing. Peace.